I want to ask you this because you're very positive in your messaging. You're real, but you're positive in your messaging. And then there was a chapter I wanted to ask you about, which was 16. This wasn't you. It was Aaron McGruder, who was the man behind the Boondocks comic strip. And it was the only chapter I was like, wow, well, this is not positive. This is some stark stuff. And it's about
it's called
race.
Death of a Nation.
Yeah, it's about race in America. And it's about, us allegedly being a white supremacist country, and Republicans don't do shit for poor white people, but they still vote Republican, and they do it because if they were to vote Democrat, the N-word would benefit. It's got a lot of incendiary thoughts on how evil Republicans are because they really just exist to keep the black man down. And it's not you, but you put it in your book by this guy, Aaron McGruder. So what are your feelings on that?
I think Aaron is expressing an emotion and feelings and saying things that a lot of people feel. A lot of people in the black community absolutely positively feel like that. But it's not even, just Republicans. I just feel like, government in general. I think that there's been a lot of systemic things that have been done, to black people in this country, to put, black people in certain positions in this country. And there hasn't been enough systemic things done, to get us out. I think one of the main critiques of the Democratic Party is they are supposed to be the party that represents us and supports us. And, people don't feel like they have fought hard enough for black people. That's why every, presidential election cycle, we're back having these same, conversations about, Democrats going out there and earning the black vote. Like if Democrats had done, historically what they say they are going to do for black people, they wouldn't be in this position every 4 years where they're out here trying to push me to endorse.
What do you think that is? Like, what do you think that is? Because I know there's a divide between the parties and some factions of the country that, the Democrats, and we keep hearing them saying things. We heard Biden at the Morehouse College the other day saying, with a very dark message about this country, that the country doesn't love you back as a young black graduate, and talking in very negative terms about what their futures look like. And you contrast that just to what Barack Obama said in front of the same audience, 8 years ago. It was very uplifting and also empowering. Like, you can do it. You can make a difference in this great country. You have nothing but blue sky ahead of you. Very different, stark messages. What's in chapter 16 sounds more like Biden. So how do you see it? More like Biden, more like Obama?
Well, I think I would like to see it more like President Obama. And the reason I would like to see it more like President Obama, because as he said, these are his words, the audacity of hope. Like, you have to be optimistic. Like, I'm optimistic because I was raised on a dirt road in, Moncks Corner, South Carolina. My mother was an English teacher. The most she ever made, was $30,000 a year at one point. My father was a great guy, who had a lot of flaws, right? And he was a construction worker, but he also had his own mental health issues, and his, he dealt with substance abuse. And I'm not supposed to come, out of that circumstance, but because, I was able to come out of that circumstance, and just because of, other conversations I've seen from people who come from environments like mine, I have to have the audacity of hope. I have to have, optimism, but I also have to deal with reality too. And it's just interesting that, President Biden would go to Morehouse and, make those statements when a lot of those issues, those problems he's contributed to, whether it was, the 86 mandatory minimum sentencing, whether it was the 88 crack law, the 94 crime bill. There's a lot of things that he, contributed to in regards to keeping, the black man down. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's just interesting that he would go to Morehouse and talk like that. You're the president of the United States of America. You are the person that, we are looking to, at least, if not change some of those things, speak to changing some of those things, because you contributed to so much of that.
What do you think? Tim Scott, he's from South Carolina, still reportedly on the short list toward becoming Trump's VP. He says he firmly believes America's not a racist country, a belief I share. Do you?
No, I highly disagree with that. I mean, of course, there's systemic racism in this country. I don't believe every single white person in America is racist, but there has been systemic racism. Yes, 100%.
Sure has
Where you
been.
can look at everything from just slavery to Jim Crow laws to redlining to the war on drugs. Like, yes, like the act like there is not systemic racism in this country is
Still,
silly
like it's
and
today,
foolish.
2024. I mean, it's like to think that Democrats who run the education system and largely the criminal justice system and so much of government today, who pride themselves on being DEI and anti-racist and all that they're running these massive racist organizations would seem a stretch
Well, that's
to
what.
even some of them.
Well, you have to have these DEI programs because of systemic racism. So things like that tell you that these systemic racism still exists because you still have to have programs like that to ensure that there's diversity, to ensure that there's equity, to ensure that there's inclusion. So yes,
But you-
systemic racism absolutely still exists in America. It's not something it's something that we can dismantle, but we have to want to dismantle it, and the only way we're going to dismantle it is if we first acknowledge that it exists. As I say, in the book, and it's a great quote. You just can't heal what you don't reveal. I don't think any of us do ourselves any favors by acting like these things don't exist.
I want to tell you about Genucel's 25-year anniversary with an extra 25% off their already awesome prices, making this the biggest Genucel sale ever. Right now, get Genucel's most popular package featuring Gen 90 for immediate results in minutes, and their top-selling under-eye bags and puffiness serum for over 70% off. Save big on all Genucel top-selling products for a younger, more youthful-looking you. And see those pesky bags and puffiness disappear right before your eyes. Genucel guarantees you will see results in less than 12 hours or your money back. For a limited time, get 70% off, 70 I say, plus an extra 25% anniversary discount automatically applied at checkout. I mean, if my math is correct, that's 95% off. Good luck finding a better sale. Once this sale is gone, though, it's gone. Order yours right now and get the Genucel jawline treatment for a more contoured, defined jawline. Genucel.com/MK60. Genucel.com/MK60. Visit Genucel.com now and get a free spa box with 2 bonus gifts and free shipping. It's a great deal. GENUCEL.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.